Mr. Lacey made another YouTube video. Let's watch it. Mr. Lacey, can I go to the toilet, please? I just had a 20-minute break, but I didn't bother going at that time because I am so lazy.
Hello students, I am Mr. Lacey. I am here to drop some mathematical knowledge. I want you to remember some things. Always show your workings. Don't stare at a question and expect the answer to magically appear from the page. Write down the information given in the question. This will help to calm you down and will get your brain working in the right direction. Trust me on this, I am a master of mathematics.
Mr. Lacey, can I please go to get some water? I also need to go to my locker to get my pencil, and I also need to go to the art room to get my ruler. I will only take 25 minutes, Mr.
Mr. Lacey, I'd like to take a walk around the school for 15 minutes. I need an excuse but I can't think of one right now.
Bruh.
Mister, I need to do something but I don't remember what it is. All I know is that I need to leave the class for 10 minutes.
Okay students, go ahead. I will see you with 15 minutes to go to the end of the lesson.
Yeah, boy. One eternity later.
Right, you're back. Now, listen to my advice one more time. Number 1, always show your workings. Number 2, don't stare at a question and expect the answer to magically appear from the page. You should write down the information given in the question. Doing this will get you started on the question and make it much easier for your brain to figure out the next step. Number 3, if you don't completely understand something, then ask your teacher. I am here to help. Now, enough talking. Like my video and subscribe if you want. Let's get on with doing these maths questions.
Alright, let's get going on this. Okay, first question. Liz asked 20 people to name the flavor of chocolate they like best. Okay, so they give a list of flavors. So we need to check these off. So we go plain. So we got 1, 2, there we go, 2, 3, looks like 3, so we got 1, 2, 3 for now. Next is milk, okay, I'll use a different color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, looks like that's it. Next is coffee, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, okay. Next is orange, so we'll go 1, 2, 3. That looks like that's it, and then we point. So we'll go 1, 2, and that looks like that's it. Just notice this other plane here. So we'll add that in. That's 4. All right. So we got 4. 8, 3, 3, and 2. That's it. 4 and 8 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20. We got 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so that's that. We move down. Chloe recorded these test marks for 20 students. Okay. So we have to show this in a stem and leaf diagram. So a couple of people weren't sure about this. So we get the tens value, whatever the tens value is, we put here, and then we put the units here. So let's go with the tens. So we got 14, 6, let's look at the bottom, 14, 19, and we got 16, 18, okay? So the tens value is 1. So we got lowest is 14, then 16, 18, 19. So that represents 14. And then the next highest is 6, so this represents 10 and 6. Make sure you leave a gap. 8 represents 18, so let's just mark these off. And then 19 is represented by 9, so leave a gap and put them in ascending numerical order. Ascending means going up, okay? So that's what you do. Next we'll go, I'll just put it in a different color so you can see. Next we go for the 20s. So we're going to have 2 here, okay? So we got 22, 29, 21, 27, 23, 25. Okay, so 21 is the lowest. So put a 1. Then 22, put a 2. 23, I thought I saw it somewhere. Yep, 23. So there's a gap between all these, okay? 25, 27, and 29. So 25, 5, so that's 25, 27, 7, and 29, 9. Alright. Next we'll go for 30s, numbers in the 30s. So 3. So it'll be 3 10s, it's 30. So it'll be 38, 36, 30, 38, or 34. So the lowest obviously is 30. 0. Then we have 2 38s, a 36, and a 34. So 4. Then we had a 36, which is here. We have 2 38s. So we're going to have 8, and we're going to have another 8 because we have 2 of them. And that's that. Last group is the 40s. So we have 43, 46, 48, 41. So we go 41 is the lowest. 41, 43, 46, and 48. Okay, cool. Done. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Is it 18 numbers? Let me check again. 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, we're missing one, are we? Another 46. Yeah, so it's always good to check. See what I did there? I checked that I had the same amount of numbers here as here. So sorry, so I'm missing a 46, not an 8, 46. So I should have another 6 here. So that's a lesson for you. Other people do make mistakes like I made there, but the thing is I checked that I had the right amount of numbers. And because I checked, I was able to spot that. So in an exam, I'd get full marks, right? Because I checked. So that is a good lesson. And then you just put in the key here. So the key just tells a person how to read the information that you put down. So the key is, you can choose any number. You can choose, the numbers actually don't even have to be in here. But anyway, let's choose 23. So if we put down this 2 and the line, which represents that line, and 3, we say that is 23. Alright? So just tell somebody how to read that, and that's it. Alright, next we have to get the probability that a student chosen at random has a mark less than 28. Okay, so probability is the number of successful outcomes so the number of successful outcomes, so in other words, it's the number of successful results. So what would be successful for us? Well, if somebody got less than 28, so if they got 14, if they got 16, if they got 21, etc. And then we divide that by the total number of outcomes. So the total number of outcomes, the total number of possibilities. So how many of these are less than 28? Because we want to get what's the probability of somebody less than 28. Okay, so 29 obviously is not, so we go 27, 25, 23, 22, 21, 19, 18, 16, 14. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 out of 20. Okay, because we have a total of 20 outcomes. 9 of them would be successful for us. So we have 9 out of 20. So here we go. I mean, you can write that up here. Look, it doesn't matter. Whatever. 45%. Whatever. 9 out of 20 are 0.45. All the same. Same. Okay, Mr. Kent's students did a maths test and a science test. The scatter graph shows the marks for these 12 students. Fine. Show the information on the scatter. Show this information on the scatter graph. Alright, so we have these extra bits of information. So he hasn't included, the table shows marks for 2 more students, so we need to include these. So Masood got 12 in maths and 14 in science. So 12 in maths, go across to 12, 14 in science is on the y-axis. We go up to 14, so it's going to be right here. Okay, done. And then, I don't know how you pronounce it, Nimmer, whatever. 17 in maths, 20 in science. So 17 is here in maths, and we go up to 20. I guess we're going to go up higher. 17 is here, and 20 is going to be up here. So you just mark that in, that's it. So we got that, and we got that. Cool. So, next. What type of correlation does this scatter graph show? Well, as we go from left to right, it's going up, right? So it's it's going upwards. So as we go across, right? So it's a positive correlation. We went into more detail. I would call that a strong positive correlation. Actually, for this test, you didn't need to go into as much detail, but strong positive or positive, it's all good. Positive is positive. Okay, strong positive is also acceptable. Next question. Estimate a science mark for David. So David was absent, but he got 15 in his maths test. Estimate a science mark for David. So what from this graph that you draw, what should it be? So we have to draw the line of best fit. Now some of you didn't. You just estimated it, but you need to draw a line of best fit. Line of best fit is where ideally we want the same amount of points on either side of the line. So it's gonna be something like roughly this. I'm gonna try to draw it as much as best I can. It's gonna be something like that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that side. This side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's get that over there. How about that? So roughly something like that. This is an approximation. That's why they say estimate. Yeah. So the dude, he got, what's his name? Jim, Joe, David. David got 15 in maths. So based on that, you should predict what score he probably would have gotten in science. So let's do that. So you got 15 in maths. So you bring it up, you hit the line there, and then you come across So it's roughly, I don't know, it's roughly about 17 and a half. So any score around that between 17 and 18 you'd probably get. The market scheme is attached, so yeah, you can check it out in that. But from what I'm looking at, it's like 17 and a half. That's it. So that's what we're saying. Okay, quarters decimal, I mean you should know that straight off the top of your head. It's 0.25. You can do, like this was a calculator test, so you could actually do it. But anyway, if you didn't know, quarter, it's easy to divide things by 10, 100. So how do you make that into 100? You multiply by 25, multiply by 25. So that equals, so we like 100, right? So we just multiply that by 25. And that's how it's going to be 25. So you really should know this by now. 0.25. A half is 0.5. A quarter is 0.25. 0.8 is a percentage. Easiest question you're ever going to get. What does percentage mean? A lot of you got this wrong. I couldn't believe it. What does percent mean? Cent means 100. If you want a percentage, you just get the number and multiply by 100. And that's it. So you multiply that by 100, you multiply by 10, it becomes 8, and then multiply by another 10, it becomes 80. Write the ratio in the simplest form. So we got 2 to 6. What number divides into 2 and 6? Highest common factor is 2. They're even, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's it. Alright, this Ewan, that's how you pronounce this name. So Ewan has 48 white tiles and he has 16 blue tiles. Write down the ratio of the number of white tiles to the number of blue tiles. Give your ratio in the simplest form. Okay, so we can see it's 48 to 16. Now, you should know, well, you've got to know, like if I said 32 and 16, you know 32 is 2 times 16, right? I'm guessing most of you would know that. But 48 is just 3 times 16. This is 3 to 1. As you practice maths more and more, these things jump out to you, okay? 4 times 16 is 64, 5 times is 80. Anyway, maybe some of you don't like maths too much, so let's do it the simpler way, okay? These are even numbers, right? So definitely you can divide it by 2. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. 48 divided by 2 is 24. Now, these are also even, so we can divide by 2. So if you divide both of these by 2, you're going to get 12 to 4. And guess what? We have even numbers again. Divided by 2, that is 6 to 2. And guess what? They are also even. So, when you divide 6 by 2, you get 3. And when you divide 2 by 2, you get 1. And that's it, because the highest common denominator here is 1, and that will make no difference. So the answer is 3 to 1. So in other words, 48 is 3 times bigger than 16. So, next, work out the ratio of the total cost of the white tiles to the total cost of the blue tiles. Okay, let's work out the total cost of the white tiles. So the white is 48 times 2. So 48 times 2 is 96 pounds, right? Now let's say the blue. So the blue is going to be 16 times 4. 16 times 4 is 64 pounds. Okay, now what's the ratio? So we have 96 to 64. Okay, so 96 to 64. Okay, let's do it. Well, to me, right? When you get used to numbers, as I said earlier, this will be really obvious. Anyway, let's take a number. What's a factor of these? 4, 8, 16, 32, 2. So let's say 8, because 8 definitely divides into 64, right? Because 8 times 8. Does 8 go into 96? If you know your times tables, you would know that it does. So 64 divided by 8 is 8. 96 divided by 8 is 12. You can divide it by 2 and work your way down. It's fine. But I don't want to waste time on it. And common factor, 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And that's it. The only common factor then is 1, so it won't reduce. So the answer is 3 to 2. Okay, Keith and Graham share £105 in the ratio 4 to 3. Work out how much Keith gets. Okay, Keith gets 4 parts, Graham gets 3 parts. So in total we have 7 parts. So let's get the value of 1 part. Okay, so we have 105 divided by 7. 105 divided by 7 is 15. So £15 for 1 part. Keith gets 4 parts, right? Keith 4, Graham 3. So 4 times £15. Well, you know 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times 5 is 20. 40 plus 20 is 60. Anyway, you can do it on your calculator. You get £60 and that's it. Keith gets 60 and obviously Graham gets 45. And that's that. Right. So you can just put your answer up here, whatever. 60. If you have a different way of doing this, it's fine. Okay, blah blah blah, Alex football team. What fraction of the people named Rovers as their favourite team? So we have a pie chart representing different team names: United, City, Wanderers, Rovers. What fraction of people named Rovers as their favourite team? Well, that's 90 degrees, right? Isn't it? Rovers is represented by 90 degrees, right angle. So we can just say, well, as a fraction, that's 90 over the total, which is 360 in a circle. And that's a quarter. It's a quarter. You can see it from that. You can see it actually from the shape that it's a quarter. That's it. So, how many people named Rovers as their favourite team? Okay, let's fill in the information that we know. What do we know? Well, we know that's 90 degrees. Oh, we know a full circle is 360. So if we take these away from 360, we'll get the angle for city. So it's going to be 360 minus 90 minus 42 minus 108. Okay? Or if you like, you can add all these together. 42 plus 108 is 150. Plus 90 is 240, so you can just say 360 minus 240, probably easier. So that's 120 degrees. So we know this is 120 degrees. Obviously then that's 120 degrees, right? Cool. We're told 20 people named City as their favourite football team. So are we just going to ignore that and just not know how to do the question? Or are we going to write that in? So I'd say let's write it in. So 20, I'll just say people. So now we have all the angles, and we have one category where we know the angle and the frequency. They call this the frequency, the number, the value. So we know the angle and the value for city. That could be helpful. Remember the formula I gave you. So I said value A over, oh that's terrible, 1 second, let's do it again. So if I said value A over angle A, multiply by angle B, and that'll give you the value of B. So if you're looking for a value, which we're looking for how many people named Rovers as their favorite team. So that's the value of Rovers. We get the value of some category that we know and divide by the angle of that category and just multiply by the angle of the category that we want. Okay, so value A is going to be 20 people. So 20, okay, and the angle A, well, 20 people for city, and their angle is 120 degrees. So let's put in 120 degrees. Okay, that's the value we know and the angle we know for one particular category. Okay, angle B, this is the angle of the category that we want to know, Rovers. We want to know how many people named Rovers. Well, Rovers has 90 degrees. I'll put it in red. Rovers is 90 degrees. And that will give us the value of Rovers. So let's do that. So what's 20 divided by 120? Well, it's actually 1/6. So you can do this on your calculator, it's all good. But what this actually is, that equals 1/6 times 90. 90 divided by 6 is 15, okay? So the answer is 15, and that's it. All right, we'll move on. The bar chart shows information about the number of candidates for an exam, each of 5 countries, okay? So let's see. 5 countries, cool. I've been only to 2 of these countries, Malaysia and Spain. Anyway, which of the 5 countries had the greatest number of candidates? Well, that's obvious, right? It's got to be Egypt. Look at the height of it. I mean, if you got to be getting that right. Egypt. All right. Very famous country, amazing history and culture. Okay, write down the number of candidates from Malaysia. Well, here's Malaysia. So we know that's 500. This is half of it. So what's half of 500? Last time I checked, it was 250. Now, the number of candidates from one country is 1,086. Which country is that? 1,086. Okay, what's near 1,000? Cyprus is near 1,000. Kenya is near 1,000. Sri Lanka is near 1,000. But it's 1,086, so it has to be over 1,000. It can't be Sri Lanka. It's between Cyprus and Kenya. Well, we can see Cyprus is over, so this is 1,250 here. So Cyprus is more than that. It's Kenya, obviously, right? So it's Kenya, and that's that. Shout out to Kenya. Cool. We go to question 9. In a box, number of red buttons to number of blue buttons is 5 to 3. Number of blue buttons to number of green buttons is 1 to 2. Alright, great. Let's see the actual question. I'm gonna put this info up here. Right, it's really, I'll just put it here. Fine. Here, I'll put the question properly. This is the way it should have been laid out. Right. So let's put that there, and I'll put this up here. I wanted to put it up there. There we go. Now, there we go. In a box, number of red buttons, number of blue buttons is 5 to 3. So let's just write down the information like I told you in the intro. Red, I'm just going to call it R, to blue is 5 to 3. Yeah. And then we have blue to green. Don't just look at the question and try to write down the information. You got to do it. You got to trust me on this. Right. Now, there are 48 green buttons in the box. Work out the number of red buttons. Okay, fair enough. So what I want to do first is kind of get these ratios aligned, okay? So we have blue is common, but the number is not the same. So I want to make these two numbers the same, 3 and 1. So if I multiply 1 by 3, it'll become 3. So let's do that. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6, okay? So now we have, I want to make that a different color, just so you can see that you can see that we did it like afterwards. My pen has gone a bit weird. Okay, there we go. So I'll put that in blue. So now we have it. Red to blue is 5 to 3, blue to green is 3 to 6. So let's just write that in a neater way. So we have red. Now we can combine them because the blue proportion is the same in both. So we know red is 5. When red is 5, blue is 3. And when blue is 3, green is 6. So there we go. This is our new ratio. Now there are 48 green buttons in the box. So I saw different people had different ways of doing this, and that's fine, impressive. But I'm just going to show you this way. 48 green buttons. So we know that green goes to 48, yeah? What do we multiply 6 by to get 48? We multiply it by 8. So we're going to do the same for each of these. 3 times 8 is 24. And 5 times 8 is 40. So the actual split of the buttons is 40 to 24 to 48. Work out the number of red buttons. So we only want the number of red, which is 40. So your answer is 40. And that, I believe, is that. Yeah, you have the marking schemes. If you see anything weird, let me know.
Well, hopefully, that all makes sense to you. Now you can go back to making TikTok videos and practicing the sturdy. See you later.